Masechta Bava Basra. We're starting a new Pedek Hamoicha Pedes. We made the Hadon yesterday on Hamoicha Sasvina. We're starting a new Mishnah. Zog the Mishnah. Hamoicha Pedes, somebody who sells fruits like tvua, kidneys, or wheat, or beans that are fit sai for planting and sai for eating.
Why did this period come before the season?
I don't have an answer. I'm going to try to get first. We'll talk about that question if we have a chance later. But here we're talking about tvua kidneys, which you can use for both. You can eat the tvua and you can plant it, and the same thing is with the beans. So if somebody sells that, to his friend, Uzan, and then he plants it like tzamchu, and it didn't grow. He says he sold me faulty weights and faulty beans.
He sold two things together.
He sold them tvua and kidneys, but it could be used for eating and it could be used for planting. So he used it for planting.
It's already fruit. How can you plant it?
It wasn't fruit yet. You could plant it. There's seeds. Yeah. Well, you can eat it. You can eat it. So, huh? He says you can eat these things. So if you can eat it, he could kinda. So most of the time, he says these paydays, like these royim, let's say, are usually eaten also half and half. But he says even if it's zera pishtan, which is 90% of the time is for planting, it's not for eating. He says people buy it usually for planting. He doesn't have to pay back because he said, since you could also eat it, I sold it to you as food. I didn't sell it to you as planting. No, he didn't. He charged. Oh no! It says that he sold. I hear you, but he's not. He's going to talk about it later. But right now, so we're talking about he didn't specify. So if he didn't specify, he could tell him, "Listen, I sold it to you to eat it, not to plant it." So zera pishtan lechera, we should go after the rave. Rave, it's made for planting. You gave me a faulty. So it's a makach you give me back. So he says by mammon ein ha'ich mammon nacharev. According to Shmuel, we're going to learn by mammon we don't go after the rave. You want to take a mammon from somebody? He's a mursik. Rave helft nicht. You're going to have to come with Aiden, and that's the only way. So, because we can't prove if he sold it for consumption, for eating, or for planting. You're right, the planting didn't work out. Rab Shimon Gamil over here, he's a different din. He says, the seeds, garden seeds, that are not made to eat, you can't eat. And he gives you a dugma, like cabbage, a seed of cabbage or seed of leek. These are things that you cannot eat. So they're not really achila. It's only made for planting, and it's not for nothing. And it didn't. And he planted, and nothing came out of it. Chai b'achril something. It's a makachtois. He didn't tell you. He said stop.
No, so we learned that since you can use it, you said since you can use it
For consumption. Okay. So he wanted to make it clear. There's even though zaroine pishtan are 90% not used either. He's telling you, even though Zareine Pishtan. You're right. Zareine Gina is not Roy Lachila. And he wants to tell you, make it clear, because he already said Zareine Pishtan, which is 90%. It's not for eating, and you said that that he's not Chai Bachri Yusan. So I would have thought maybe even 100%. He's telling no, 100% is not going to work. So if you want to eat from him, you let. One who sells a shirt to his friend, he wanted to buy a shirt. Zolabatin, ox, that it does the job for Charisha. Wait, 1 second. But normally, you buy a shirt, you want to be able to use it. But here you got a nakhin, it's not what it's not what he paid for. Yeah. Rav says that's a makach. Because most people buy a behemoth not just for shechita, for charisha, to plow. And this shirt is a Michigan shirt. It's only good for it. You have to put a bullet in its head. It's the only way you can deal with it. A shechita, yeah. Shmuel says, Shmuel says, no, that he could say that I sold it for shechita. Yeah, sure. Okay. Shmuel said, there's no mekach tois here. Okay. Shmuel says that. Why does Shmuel say he could sell it for shchita? So the Gemara is going to say because Shmuel is zakt as ein helch memamen nacharei. Even though most of the time when you buy a behemoth, it's also used for charisha, not just for shchita. Aber ein helch memamen nacharei. By a mulzik, by mamen, whoever's a mulzik, the roi wird nicht helpen to take it out of the guy's pocket money. You need a you need Adam. To prove what was, if he would have said it specifically that he's buying it for charisha, no. But since he didn't, here we're saying that he didn't say it. So right. So the Gemara, let's
still use it to beschriften, right?
yeah, but it's worth. In fact, the Gemara, let's look. Let's look what kind of a person this is. If he's a person who's a butcher, so surely we know that he's buying it for the meat. So he bought it we could already establish that that's what he bought it for the meat. If it's a person that's a farmer and he uses it for working the ground, so I said, we know that what was the purpose of him buying the shirt was to plow. We see he's a farmer. That's what it is for. We're talking about a person. The Machlokes of Rav and Shmuel is dealing with a person that sometimes he uses it for the meat, and sometimes he uses it for work. In fact, okay, I hear you, and that's where the Machlokes is. So, in fact, let's see the money. Well, let's see how much money he gave, because l'cheira for charisha should cost more. If you're getting a behemoth that's able to work, that should be a higher price. So the Yaakov Bisa become b'demei rija. He says that the meat went up so high, so it became the equivalent of taking a share just for plowing. So there's no difference. Okay, the price went up. If that's the case, if so, so what's the chilik l'maisa? If you're going to say the mekach is kaima bottle, it's the same money. He's not losing. So no, there's going to be a difference. Meaning the machlekes will be letircha. Look, this guy didn't want a share to sell the meat. Now he's dealing with a meshugna share, a share nachrin. He has to put a bullet in, he has to shach it. That's the only way. And then he's going to have to sell the meat to get his money back. But that's not what he wanted. He wanted the share for arbiter for work. So could we consider it as a mekach tois or not? So according to Rav says most shvarim that is bought is also bought for plowing. So he says since most shvarim are also bought for plowing, he can say it's a mekach tois, and you keep the share. You give me back my money and finish. I don't want to deal with the share, nachen and to shacht it and sell the meat and get my money. Yeah, you deal with the headaches. Shmuel says no, you got to deal with the headaches. Shmuel says ein helch mit mamen acharei. How is the case talking about? Either like if you're going to say he has no more money, he gave him the money to buy the share. The meiche got the money and he bought a lot of ice cream, wine. And he has no more money. He says no more. It's over here. He says I finished it, and there's no more money. Says the Gemara, let the lekech leave the share. As the lekech should keep the share as a payment for the money. He has no choice. He gave him the money. He has no money to pay him back. You might as well hold on to the share. And he says the amri insha because people say min mari rashusach from a balchayiv. Even if he gives you pa'edi subin brand, ipora, take it from him because later on you might not get nothing. Don't take chances. Okay, zog the mother leitzicha daretzich the ikilish minay. So since the mother, we're talking about a case where he's able to pay back the money, and the meicha has the money to pay back, and that's the machlekes. According to the Rav, the mekach is bottle, and he says, I don't want to deal with the headaches. I bought it for work. You give me back my money and finished. And he cannot tell him, you keep the shade, you do shechten and get your money back. It's a mekach tois, but according to Shmuel, mekach is kayim. Because and he says you bought the share, you keep the share, you deal with it, sell it, and finish. Rav says one who sells a share l'chaveda and he finds that it's a nachrin, harei mekach tos. It's a mekach tos. Why? Because basa ruba azlina. We go after the right. The ruba lirija zamne. But most of the people, when they buy a shmarim, it's also for Harisha. Okay, Shmuel Amalach, Shmuel will say, no. Ki Aslan Basaruba, when do we go after the Roiv? B'Isura, by a Isur. Like what? If you found meat, a piece of meat outside a city, and in that city there's 9 stores that sell basra kosher, and there's one store that sells basra nevela. So the klal is that the Roiv establishes the basra that you found by that city is kosher. You go, this is the Isur. Here we're dealing with Mame. So the Gemara Simon, the Gemara is now going to be 5 cases from the Mishnayos. From each one is going to be a kasha either on Rav on Shmuel. And this one is one of the cases will be Isha, a second case will be the Eved, a third case Shir, Shvarim, Upedis. Okay, so the Gemara basically.
We start with Isha first.
Isha first. Basically, the Gemara kasha on Rav. What did Rav say? Rav said that you go after the Rav. Okay, let's see. Ha'isha shen samala. A woman who was widowed or was divorced. She says, no, I got married as a psula.
Okay.
And why is she saying that? Because she wants to get the ksuba of 200 instead of 100. He says, no, you got married to me as almana. So do you want it like this? So if she's almana, she only gets 100 of the ksuba. So we're dealing with dinim mamanis. So if there were edim that she went out with a veil, because that was absula, with a kala absula would go with a veil covering her face, and a human here, a veil that he knew his lashon. They dozed off. He knew why? Because when they put up the veil, if the women were able to doze off. I think he says it over here. I'll just see if he has it here. I saw it in another place. 10. Oh, Kala B'Sulat Nechas Mana B'Tzoy. U'Mitoich Kach L'Fa'omim Misnan Nemes. But sometimes she takes a dremel. U'Mishum Kach Neke Inuma. That's why it's called a Inuma. That's the veil. So I think about it.
She falls asleep?
No, but it says that's why it's called a Inuma, because they're able to doze off. And here comes down, it says till her shoulders, her human hair. That's by who? That's by Absula.
It's not a shaitan.
It's Nishki Shaitan. No, so that's she's Absula. That's one of the Simanim. Agam, we know people wear Shaitlach under the chuppah, but here, this is one of the Simanim. Okay. Okay. Ksubas Masai. So then the Ksubas is going to be 200 because you have the 2 Simanim, right? That's only if there's Eidim. So the amount of time of the Eidim, the whole reason is because there were Eidim that gave the Simanim that she's a psula. Her like Hayden, but what's if there wouldn't be any Hayden? Like, so she's not believed. In fact, the mother, why am I? Lema holach acha reiv nashim. We should go after the reiv nashim. Reiv nashim psulas nisais. Most women get married as a psula. Psula nisas. Get married. Yep. Most women get married as a psula. So if there's a reiv here, so why do we need Hayden? Says Ravina said, "Mishum deikal beima."
This price is a kasha on Rav, right?
There's a kasha on Rav. Rav says you go after the right by dinim mamanis. Here we're dealing with dinim mamanis if the ksuba should be 100 or 200, and there's a right that the women get married as psules. Why should she need Eidim? Without Eidim, she should get the 200 for the ksuba. We could say.
She should prove that she was an almana.
Okay. We say taka. Most women get married as psulas, but umiyot amanis. But there is a meet of women that get married as a widow. The kol on his house psula, yes, lakel. But when a girl gets married as a psula, oh, there's a chasna. A girl with a boy. There's a kail. A woman who's already married, they make a smaller wedding. The almanas, they make it quiet. V'zu hoyvei ma kail. But this case was a case there was no kail. So since there was no kail, Isra laruba, the rave that women get married as a psula, rave women get married as a psula, is fashvech geworden, got weak. How did it become weak? Because there wasn't a kail here. Normally,
So she wasn't wearing hainuma either.
no, we don't. We said we need Eidim to testify that she was wearing a hinuma in order to get the ksuba of 200. So we said, when do we need the Eidim? Because we're talking about a case where Isra Leiruba. How Ritaka would go after the Reiv if there was a coil. But here there was no coil, so the Reiv is not a good Reiv. So since the Reiv, because if she got married as a psula, there should have been a coil. So we could say she's probably almana if there was no coil. So therefore, you need Adam to prove that she went out with a. She was a psula. She went out with a veil when she came out, or her hair, her human hair, was down to her shoulders. Yeah. If we're gonna say all married psulis have a koil, everybody talks about it. I started the Mishnah. I'll say it over in a minute.
We're already 15 minutes.
5 minutes, you're up to here already?
It's more than 5 minutes. No. I'll go back to it.
Became special for the Mishnah.
I'll tell you in a second. I'm going to start the Mishnah in a minute. We're almost finished the blood. We're almost finished the blood. No, but I'm almost finished the blood. I have so much time. I'm going to say it over. Don't worry. So I think about it. Equal on this.
Whoever prints the Gemaras and this, and make them to put 3 lines, and you have to finish the plot. That the whole thing is to finish the page. So make 3 lines and finish.
Got it. I hear you. Fact the Gemara, equal hanesuais, anisais psulis. Yesh lahem kail. If any psula gets married, you're saying there's a tumul involved. Ki ikedim my havi. What does it help that there is edim? Mideles la kail. If there is no kail, right? So meaning, even if there's edim that she went out behinuma means even if there are edim testifying she went out with a veil, and even if there are edim that they saw that she came out with her human hair. A human hair is only a psula. So even if there's Adam, who cares? If there was no koil, so he's saying, and if there was no koil, we shouldn't trust Adam. If there was no koil, so that means the koil is what makes her a psula. So, and if there's no koil, we have to say these Adam that are testifying are false Adam. Sadei shakri, vadei sadei shakri. These Adam are going to be Adam shakri because it's a vadai that when a psula gets married, there's a koil. This young couple is getting married. Yeah, there's always a koil. So that's what he's saying. So if there's a koil, there's Adam that are coming here and testifying when there was no koil, that we have to say these Adam are something smells fishy. Okay, yeah. So it's a vade because it's a vade. Such a thing as a koil. Says Gemara, no. Ella roiv hani sois psulis yeshvan koil. You said kol psulis before. You said before, right? Before we said the kol hanisas psula yeshvan koil. Well, we changed our mind now. It's not exact, not kol. Not everyone. Most women who get married as a virgin, as a psula, yes, lam koil.
Whoever has money probably a nicer wedding.
Yeah, but anyway, every young couple that gets married, there's normally you hear about it.
So why was the exception there wasn't?
Okay, so he says sometimes there's not. Vazua, this isha, right? So sometimes there's not a color. Vazua, and this woman is a suffix if she got married as a psula. Hoyo be'ein la koil isa la ruba. Her roiv became weak. So now you have a roiv against a roiv. You have a roiv that most women who get married as a psula, there is a koil. Then you have a roiv of women that there's no koil are probably going to be almanis. So they cancel each other out, right? So now the Baal is the musik of the money. There's no Raiv here because you have the Raiv that is a koil. A Raiv psulis is a koil. And then you have the Raiv that breaks that Raiv because there's Raiv women. Raiv women who get married is psulis nesais only if there's a koil. But then Raiv and nesais psulis. Okay, Raiv most women who get married are psula. Then also most women who get married as a psula has a koil. So the rave of most women who get married have a koil, versus the most women who are psulis get married cancel each other because this one doesn't have a koil. This rave doesn't have a koil, so it cancels the rave of the women who get married are psulis.
You have to cancel the rave.
You have to cancel the rave. So you're back to buchzik. That's why we needed the Eidim to testify that she went out with a veil and she had her human hair coming down to her shoulders. So that's how we know that she was a psula. We need the Eidim to be mitzi the extra $100, or it shouldn't be $100, it's much more. The extra 100 zuz, today it's like $30,000. Yeah, so the extra 100 zuz for as a.
Why is it $30,000?
I don't know, Bogomilsky told me this.
It doesn't pay to marry, so it's like...
It doesn't pay to get divorced, not to get married.
How
Tashma.
much is one zuz? One zuz is what, 15,000?
I don't know. 100 zuz, 200 zuz, I think he said is 30,000. 200 zuz. So it's 15,000, 100. So you about a Tashma, come in here, and I'll bring you a rayat to Rav that by mumming we go after the Rav. Where? One who sells an evet to his friend, when he finds out what kind of evet do I have? A ganef, oikov justus. He's a ganef, or he's a person that's a kidnapper, or plays cards. I have to watch every time I turn around. I have to see what's missing next. So what kind of evet do I don't need such avadim. Says Yimani Higil. He's stuck with this evet. Least the mezuyin. But what if he's like a mafioso? So he's going to end up getting killed. Most mafia. They're going to be killed at the end anyway. The government is going to come after them. Oy muchtav lamalchus. So he was already sentenced to death by the government. And so then you say to the Meicha, I'm not buying a dead evet. Here, take it back. Then he can back out. It's a mekach tois. He saves some, yeah. So it's a mekach tois. He gets back his money. That's if he sold him a mafioso, somebody who was already written, inscribed for death by the government.
You can't give it to law.
Huh? By a ganef he can. Oh, very good. So we're going to get to it in a second. So Reisha, you're jumping. Let's say it inside. Reisha, in the first case when we found the evet to be a ganef, or a card player, or a kidnapper. In fact, in one of my time, like Salih asked, what's the reason? Mekach Kaim, why should the Mekach be Kaim? It's also a Mekach Tos. I'm thinking about Allah Mishum, the Ruba Hachi Isnu. Because Vadai, most Avodim are Ganovim. You take a cleaning lady, today, every cleaning lady, there's a video, she stole money. Of course, a cleaning lady, I have it, it's a Ganav, I'm finished. You're not getting away.
I had a cleaning lady, she put all my underwear. A Polish lady.
Huh?
I had the Polish.
Yeah, they never echt Ganovim. What were you asking?
Why can't he say Harrison's Title I?
He can't, because you knew
Because it was done already.
it was done, and you didn't specify you want a clean evet. Evet is you has a clean name. Most of them are ganovim, and you didn't specify, so you took it with that anoch and finished. You knew. No, listim is a dead evet. That's considered dead. It's a mekach tos. He didn't buy. That's not a evet. That's a dead body. He doesn't have no. That's a dead body. It says. So evet kazeu ka'odam mace. That's what the Rashbam says. He says one who buys wants to buy a live evet, not a dead evet. The lawyer of the mace, Rashbam. That's the Rashbam. It means very simple. You bought a guy who was sentenced to death to be your slave. He's going to be there for 2 hours, then he's dead. You didn't buy a dead evet. You want to buy a live evet.
Then he could say.
Huh? Then he could say it's a mekach tos. So it says, but what do we see from the first cases when he bought a ganef? You say he has to keep the ganef because most of them are ganavim. Most cleaning ladies are ganavim.
He knew.
What?
And he knew that most could
He knew that, yeah, and he should have specified if he didn't want a ganef in the house. Says the Gemara. Huh? You saw a gambe. No. Kulu hachiyisno. He says it's not a roiv. All of them are ganavim. Even Shmuel, who says, Ein Hilchen mit Mama nach Areiv, aber das ist nicht kein Reiv, das ist alle sein. So we'll stop over here.